Hello, my cat-loving friends, Byromi here. If you also watched my previous one-wheel video, you know I'm recovering from the flu, but my voice is not as affected today, but we're going to cover the remaining unreviewed litters today. Pay attention on the right. Litter Maid Premium Corn Cob Litter puddles worse than the other two, World's Best and Dr. ELSEY'S. Watching it again here. Please note the video is sped up, so that absorption rate is worse than what it appears. Here we're dumping out the unused litter so that we can compare the volume of absorption. Now, Litter Maid has fantastic absorption per volume. It's extremely lightweight, virtually dust-free, but that is all it has going on for it. Dr. ELSEY'S on the left is far superior clumping litter in every way except for weight. It is very heavy, its absorption per volume is the lowest of the other ones, and it's not as environmentally friendly as its corn counterparts of World's Best in the middle and Litter Maid Premium Corn Cob Litter on the right here. Here's the leftover unused litter. Putting it into measuring cups, Litter Maid Corn Cob Litter has the best absorption per volume. 1 hour later, we tested the clumps again. Dr. ELSEY'S wasn't even worth testing because it's going to win. It's far superior. World's Best on the left was drier and more firm than that of Litter Maid on the right. Shaking it there, it's falling apart. It's still wet inside. It just doesn't allow it to dry. World's Best gets lots of great reviews online. I would say it's a good litter to try, but I would just say that it's average. It acts like most any clumping clay litter, but doesn't excel in any degree. Here we're comparing the prices. The top three are those that are being compared in this video, the clumping litters, and their prices are pretty similar.
This litter, because the pieces are not uniform in shape, they interlock one with another. And so this is nice for digging a nice deep hole if your cat likes to dig. But if I pick up a large bunch, then you have more weight on top of each piece, allowing them to interlock tighter with the weight of each other on top of one another.
Despite being a fine texture, the interlocking irregular shape made it so it wouldn't even sift very good through my invention. I can't find the video, so this video will have to do.
I've already vacuumed up this area, but again, there's my corridor, there's the corner, and then way over here is my cat fountain and food for the cats. And you can see there's a lot of this Litter Maid Corn Cob litter over here by the drinking and eating area. So I think the tracking of this litter is just as bad as that of Pretty Litter, but when I step on it, it doesn't make a horrible crunching sound under my feet. I really had high hopes for this litter, but I don't know. It absorbs a lot. This litter has the best absorbency per volume of any other litter so far, but the other qualities are just not on par.
Remember the puddling I showed you at the beginning of the video? Notice the line here. And also on this picture, the line there. It's really easy to remove stuck-on litter for this litter. It doesn't really stick. I mean, it's sticky, but it comes off really easy. Because of the clump being so loose. It took me a while to realize how bad this litter was tracking over my house because it's the same color as my floor. This litter is like camouflage. I found it difficult to find the clumps. I even found it difficult to find the poop. And when the clumps and the poop are all really small, it was just really difficult. The camouflageness of this litter made it difficult for removal, especially when I wasn't able to conveniently use my invention sifting basket. Lastly, odor control. This litter has a fragrance. Although at first I thought it was pleasant, it wore off and the odor of poop and pee took over. And before it wore off, I actually started to find it annoying. I emailed the company to see if they would let me know what the ingredients were, but they did not respond to my email. I have since learned and decided I am anti-fragrance litter man. I also don't like the fragrance of clump and seal litter from Arm & Hammer. That I'll discuss in another video. Moving on to our world's best corn multi-cat litter. This litter is a lighter color and did not have the camouflage problem, and would actually work in my sifting box invention. This is the basket I told you about. I was lifting it at a higher rate than I normally would just to show off its dustiness, flaring up into the camera right there, which makes it look worse than it really is. It is dusty, but it's not that dusty. As said before, this litter is an all-around okay litter. It doesn't excel in any one category. It's just average. It's okay. Let me share with you the two things that annoyed me the most about this litter. The first is that the clumps often would stick really bad and releasing them was difficult. Even tapping on the bottom would not fully release these clumps. The litter has an odor. It is not a fragrance. It is just the natural smell of like old cornmeal. It's really strong. No one in my family liked it. It did get more mild over time, but it did take a while. Here's another clump. Stubborn. Just won't come off. Unlike Dr. ELSEY'S, which we will compare later. Shortly. At this point, I have tried 9 or more different litters and wanted to go back to my tried and true Dr. ELSEY'S litter to see if I still approved and liked it, and if my cats also approved and liked it. Before going back to Dr. ELSEY'S, I combined this world's best along with the Litter Maid Premium Corn Cob litter into one basket, so that I could use them up, and I was hoping the mixture would help with the odor problem that I had with Litter Maid Premium Corn Cob litter. Now, I don't want to give a false impression that Dr. ELSEY'S is immune to sticking, because sometimes it does. So, sometimes it will stick and leave wetness behind, as shown here. So this shot is actually a few days into testing Dr. ELSEY'S Ultra Clumping Clay Litter. I had the tofu moved to the green litter box in my laundry room. There's a clump of it, and underneath that there's a brown clump from the mixture of the two different corn-based litters, which do better mixed together. The odor problems that Litter Maid had were remedied by that of the world's best, and also the clumping problems were remedied altogether, having the different pros and cons cancel each other out. And interestingly enough, I've recently discovered that mixing a smaller grit, finer, higher absorbency per volume clumping litter with Dr. ELSEY'S Ultra made it better as well too. Dr. ELSEY'S Clumping Clay Litter in the blue bag. This is 1 day of use, and I had all 3 of my cats sleeping in my bedroom. This box is in my bedroom bathroom, so we've had a lot of usage of this litter in its
first day back. And I think my cats were also pretty excited to see the litter that they've used more than any other litter their entire life. Now we've got a little bit of unburied pee in the corner, and definitely a lot of use in the box. You can see a lot of digging. So let's see how this turns out. We're going to sift it here. Look at all those big clumps. Alright, so this one in the corner is staying. We're going to give 1, 2, 3, and it came completely loose. Nothing is stuck there. Nothing. Now, I did not clean this box after using the TofuKitty Club Litter. You can still see a little bit of that green dust mixed with, I still got the leftover lining from the oil and baking soda. But 3 taps, the third one being particularly a strong tap, released every bit of these clumps. And we're gonna sift it all the way in. You have enough litter that you can maneuver into the corner basket. That's how much litter you put in this invention of mine. And again, we tilt it, let it sift. You don't want it to fall, you just want it to kind of set itself down on top of the pile that's building underneath the basket. So there's very little, very little turbulence, very little agitation, and there's going to be no dust in the air. There's nothing going on in the air. Give it a few more shakes, and we're going to see just how much. Look at that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clumps and a few turds in there. And we've got just a few little pieces on top. So any pieces that are big enough to fall through these 1/2-inch holes, I know these holes are a bit big, but they allow this to work quickly. So these little chunks will always end up on top. They will always go through these doors last. As everything fights to go through these little holes, the big things will lose and they will go out last. Like 99% of the time, they will end out on top. So make sure you keep the basket out and don't tilt everything back yet. And you just go back and you pick up these little pieces with a shovel if you're really concerned about them, and get them out. It's that easy, that simple. So it doesn't completely eliminate the need of having a small shovel, but it just makes everything so much easier. After dumping the waste, you put the basket back in and you simply just drop it back down, level it off, and push it back into your rightful place. So here we have the second day of using this litter. Speaking of the corn-based litter, the cats didn't use it at all. So they prefer the tofu over the corn, and they prefer this over all of them. This is the second day having this litter back, and we have some heavy usage of this litter box. So let's do a tilt and clean and see how it goes. See how much waste we have left over in this box. We have a couple of clumps and at least probably one instance of cat poop. So my cats are going out of their way to come into my bedroom away from their typical dining and pooping and peeing area to use this box. Obviously there is a preference to this litter. over the tofu litter and the corn-based mix litter. Okay, this is the third day. I have 2 clumps of each type of litter in this trash bag from my laundry room, the TofuKitty Club and the mixture of World's Best and Premium Corn Cob by Litter Maid. I just mix those 2 together. And so there's a total of 4 clumps in there, and 3 days in a row, it has more use than the other boxes combined. This is the only one with poop in it. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clumps, and all of the poop for 24 hours of the 2 cats that are always in my house, and 2 cats that are inside-outside cats. And once again, there will be teeny tiny things left behind, but they will always be on top. So you get a cheap plastic shovel and simply skim the top, and you can get rid of the itty bitty chunks and pieces. Look at all that. That's a good amount of waste. Day 5.
Here's another example of a rare clump sticking to the bottom of the box, releasing almost perfectly cleanly. Regardless of this residue left over in the box or not, this litter in my years of using it has always released pretty easily. And if you add a fine grit clumping litter to this mixture, it will release even better, if it even sticks at all.
So over the week-long plus period of testing this litter once again after using all of the other litters, we have some granules here. So we're just showing the tracking. This is a top entry litter box. A lot of the times my cats will climb out and to the top of the tub here. And excuse the trash bags there, they're full of clothes that I gotta go through. Got 8 total people in the household. Got the twins and 4 other kids, so things are really busy. But you can see around the rim here there's a few granules and then some that have fallen down in. I've been keeping my litter supply in here, and then also in the tub, because we don't use it, is this broken chair that my cats sleep on. So, you know, I guess there's more attraction for the cats to come in here than meets the eye. But we have a granule way over here on this far end of the tub. So it does track, but considering the length of time, it's not too bad, and we're not going to be able to see any of the litter that's in this carpet here. I just go to the furniture store and ask them for reject leftover carpet and use that for my litter mats. It works just as good, if not better, than the expensive ones that are too small. Thanks for watching, guys. I know it was a little bit long, but it was about 3 litters, almost 4 litters, and also talked a little bit about the mixing of litters. Gotta try it out, especially if you've been testing litters like me and weren't happy with one, you can, or 2, and mix those 2 you're not happy with, and then have a much more righteous experience and have a righteous day. See you next time.